Where did I live in the UK? I lived in Liverpool. I was there 23 years when I moved I was 23 years old when I moved to America. What was the war like? Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't very pleasant. I was born in 38 where war had really started but not come to England at that time. And I remember being woke up by my mum at night when the sirens were going off, and they bringing me downstairs and my brother and sister downstairs. My dad was away in the army, of course, and she would sit us under a big butcher block table that was pushed under the stairwell, and she'd get our coats and that on, and we'd stay there until the air raid warden came and knocked at the door. He would come in and he'd pick me up and carry me, and my mother would get hold of my brother and sister's hands, and we'd all go into the shelters that were lined up in the streets. Being in the shelters they were low, they were like a shoebox, very low and that, and being in the shelters, there was always someone there with an accordion or what do you call them, the squeeze boxes and to play music and have people sing to get their minds off what was going on outside. And I remember there would be bunks at the end of the shelter for the kids to sleep on, and I always remember the look on my mum's face when she'd sit on the end of the bunk looking at us like, what the hell have I brought these kids into this world for right now? I had to be about 4 years old, and I remember that vividly, the bombing and everything. As I got older, I'd be laying in bed, and if I heard a plane going over, I'd tense up until I couldn't hear that plane anymore, because the only thing I associated with planes at that time, when I was a kid, was dropping bombs. When the war ended, we had big celebrations in the streets. All the shelters were taken down so quickly. It was unbelievable. It was like they were there 1 minute, they were gone the next. And we had big celebrations with decoration. I don't know where the mums got the money from to get the food they did, but they all got together and made a big party for everyone. All in the streets, every street in Liverpool, every street in England. At the end of the war, I've got to tell you this little story. At the end of the war, we went to this theatre. It was my mum, my dad, the three kids, my aunt and uncle, and we were in this theatre and they put on a show. And then the guy come on stage and he said, I want all the servicemen to stand up, because they were still all in their uniforms. And he said, it was all girls dressed like Hawaiian girls. And he said, the girls are all going to come out and they're going to pick servicemen to come up on stage. And my dad got picked by one of the women and he went up on stage, and then him and the girl had to do an Hawaiian dance together, and they all were doing that. And I've never seen my mom as happy that night. She laughed and laughed. She was so happy, because my dad he liked anything like that.